The sky turned red as the alien city of Zerentha burned. Commander Jace Holden ducked under a collapsing wall, pulling a wounded soldier with him. The war between the Zelari and the invading Sithar Empire had exploded without warning. The humans were only meant to observe. But when the Sithar bombed the peace talks and opened fire on civilians, everything changed. Jace never expected to fight again, not after the Earth Wars. But when he saw the Zelari children running, screaming, their small silver bodies scorched with ash, he raised his rifle without hesitation. The battlefield was chaos. Giant walkers crushed buildings. Alien drones swarmed the sky. Jace's squad fought hard, but they were outnumbered. Still, the humans didn't run. They never did. On the second day of the invasion, Jace's unit received a strange signal, an old distress beacon coming from a palace deep inside enemy lines. "We're not here to rescue royalty," his lieutenant warned. Jace stared at the map. "No," he said, "but whoever sent that signal might still be alive, and I'm not letting someone die alone in this mess." He went alone. The palace was nearly destroyed. Blackened towers leaned at odd angles, and smoke curled out of shattered domes. Inside, the silence was heavy, broken only by the crackle of fire. He stepped over bodies, guards, servants, even children, until he reached the main chamber. That's when he heard the sound. A quiet sobbing. He raised his weapon and slowly pushed open the massive door. There she was, a Zelari woman in a torn ceremonial robe. Her skin shimmered like silver and violet under the flickering flames. Her long hair, once tied in noble loops, now hung loose and tangled. She clutched a small pendant to her chest, blood staining her sleeves. She did not scream when she saw him. Instead, she looked up, red eyes wide with sorrow. "You're human," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Yes," he said, lowering his rifle. "I'm here to help." She tried to stand but stumbled. Jace caught her before she hit the floor. Her body was cold, trembling. She looked too fragile to survive another hour in this ruined place. "They took him," she said weakly. "My mate, he tried to protect us. They killed him." Jace didn't know what to say. He simply held her, feeling her heart beat fast against his chest. The enemy could return any moment, but he didn't move. He just let her cry. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I swear it." She looked up at him again. Her violet eyes were full of questions and pain. "Why would a human risk his life for someone like me?" He answered without thinking, "Because that's what a true male does." They stayed hidden in the ruined palace for 2 nights. Jace built a fire, gave her food and water, and treated her wounds. In return, she told him her name, Yellary, widow of the High Protector. As the sun rose on the 3rd day, enemy patrols came close. Jace prepared to fight. But before he could move, Yellary placed her hand over his. "If we don't make it," she said quietly, "then thank you for giving me peace when I had none." Jace looked into her alien eyes and saw something he hadn't seen in years: trust. But the danger wasn't over. Just as they started to move toward the tunnels, Jace heard the sound of Sithar boots. Too many. They were surrounded. He pulled out his last 2 grenades, ready to make a final stand. But Yellary did something strange. She stepped in front of him. "Hide," she said. "You don't understand. I may be a widow, but I still carry his mark. I can command them." "What?" Jace whispered. "Trust me," she said, "like I trusted you." And then she walked into the firelight alone. Jace could only watch. The red glow of flames lit up the broken palace walls as Yellary stepped forward, her silver robes trailing ash behind her. Jace stayed hidden behind the pillar like she asked, but his heart pounded. He gripped his rifle tightly, ready to jump out and fight if she got hurt. 3 Sithar soldiers stormed into the chamber. They were tall, armored in dark gray suits, with glowing red eyes and rifles aimed in all directions. One of them barked, "Check for survivors." Yellari raised her head. The soldiers paused when they saw her. Then one of them said in a low voice, "That's her. That's the widow of Protector Varn. They didn't shoot. They didn't even move." Yellari's voice rang out clear and cold. "I am still the bondmate of Varn the Fearless. His blood still shields me. You dare point weapons at me under sacred law?" The lead Sither lowered his weapon a little. "You're supposed to be dead." "I am not," Yellari replied calmly. "And if you kill me, his clan will burn your names from the stars." Jace watched in stunned silence. These killers, who had destroyed entire cities, were now hesitating because of her. The lead Sither finally made a decision. He nodded to the others. "Fall back. We report this." "But," one of the others started to argue. "I said fall back," the leader growled. "She is marked." And just like that, they left. Yellari stood still until the sound of their boots faded. Only then did her knees buckle. Jace rushed forward, catching her before she hit the ground again. "You weren't sure that would work," he said softly. "No," she whispered, breathing heavily. "But I had to try." He helped her back into the safer part of the ruins. "What was that all about?" She looked at him, her eyes filled with exhaustion. "Varn was more than my mate. He was a war leader. Even his enemies respected him. His bloodline carries power and fear. As his widow, I am still protected by ancient customs." Jace nodded slowly. "That won't last forever." "I know." They sat together near a broken window. The night outside was quiet, but tension filled the air like a storm waiting to break. "Why did you come back for me?" Yellari asked suddenly. Jace looked into the fire. "Because you were alone." "Because no one should die like that," she smiled sadly. "You are strange, human. I don't understand your kind." "Good," he said, half joking. "We're a mess." Her smile faded, replaced by a serious look. "You have a strong heart, but you risked everything for someone you didn't know." Jace shrugged. "That's what soldiers do, protect the helpless." She reached out and gently touched his hand. "I wasn't helpless. Not completely. I still had my voice, my knowledge, but no one to listen, until you came." The touch lingered. Something unspoken passed between them. But before anything more could be said, the ground shook violently. A new explosion rocked the outer palace walls. Jace jumped to his feet. "They're coming back. And next time, they won't listen." He helped Yellari to her feet. "We have to leave now." "There's an escape tunnel below the throne," she said. "Only the royal family knows of it. It leads far beyond the city." Jace smiled. "Perfect. Let's vanish like ghosts." They moved quickly, helping each other over fallen columns and burning rubble. Yellari guided him to a hidden stone panel. She touched it with her pendant. A rumble echoed and the wall slid open, revealing a narrow stairway into darkness. Jace held out his hand. She took it. Together, they descended into the unknown. But the war wasn't over. As they disappeared into the shadows, a Sither commander watched through a drone feed. He turned to his officers. "The human has taken the widow of Varn," he said. One officer stepped forward. "Shall we track and kill them?" The commander shook his head slowly. "No, we follow. The widow may lead us to something far greater than her bloodline." His eyes glowed brighter. "Let the human think he's saving her, for now." The tunnel was cold, narrow, and silent except for the soft echoes of their footsteps. Jace walked ahead, rifle raised, watching every shadow. Yellari followed close, one hand brushing the stone wall, her other gripping her pendant tightly. "This tunnel," she said softly, "was built during the Old Empire. Even Varn never used it. Only the royal bloodline knows its path. Jace glanced back at her. Then I guess I'm lucky to be with royalty. She gave a tired smile. I'm no longer royal. Only a widow in a ruined world. You're still alive, he replied, voice steady. That counts for something. The light behind them was gone now, swallowed by the stone walls. They were deep underground, where no drone could fly and no scout could follow. Or so they thought. After an hour, the tunnel forked into 3 paths. Yalari stood still, breathing hard. It's been too long, she said, unsure. One path leads to the outer wildlands. One to the fallen archives. The third leads nowhere. Jay stepped beside her. Then we choose the right one, carefully. He noticed faint markings near the middle tunnel scratches, old but deliberate. Human instincts kicked in. This one, he said, pointing, looks like someone marked the wall here. Survivors, maybe, Yalari nodded. Then we trust your instincts. Human. They entered the middle path. After a few minutes, the walls opened into a wide underground chamber. There were old lights still glowing faintly on the ceiling, powered by ancient alien tech. Then Jace saw it, a mural carved into the wall, massive and ancient. It showed a great war alien warriors, and at the center, a human figure, hands glowing with power. What is this? He asked, stepping closer. Yalari stared in shock. This was Forbidden's history. My people erased these records long ago. Why? Because it tells of the first human, a traveler from a distant world who came during the time of shadows. He helped unite the Zalari and taught them the code of honor. Many believed it was myth. Jace traced the carving of the glowing man. Looks like we've been working together longer than we thought. Yellari's eyes met his. Maybe your people were never strangers. They moved deeper into the chamber. At the far end was an old terminal, blinking weakly. Jace brushed off the dust. Still functional. He tapped the screen and it buzzed to life, showing a star map. Hidden routes, vaults, even safe zones across the galaxy. This isn't just a map, he whispered. It's a guide to Zalari's survival. Yalari stared in disbelief. My husband never told me this existed. Maybe he didn't know, Jace said. Or maybe he protected it by not knowing. Before they could study it further, a faint sound echoed through the tunnel behind them. Footsteps. Jace froze. Yellery turned, panic rising in her voice. How? No one knew of this place. Jace pulled her gently behind the pillar near the terminal. He aimed his rifle toward the tunnel entrance, breath steady, finger on the trigger. 3 Sither shadows appeared, not soldiers, hunters. They moved silently, weapons drawn, scanning the chamber. Jace whispered, "We're cornered unless we act now." Yellery pointed to a side tunnel just behind the mural. There's a maintenance shaft, small, but it leads to the wildlands. I remember now. Jace didn't hesitate. Go. I'll hold them off for 60 seconds, then follow. I won't leave you, she said, grabbing his arm. You're not leaving me, he said calmly. You're saving this map. The galaxy may need it. He smiled. And I promise to keep you safe. She nodded, eyes full of emotion. Then she slipped away through the mural's crack, vanishing into the side passage. The Sither hunters stepped closer, unaware. Jace waited until they passed the first row of pillars, then opened fire. Asterisk blaster. Fire echoed through the ancient tunnel. Jace fired controlled bursts, keeping the 3 Sither hunters pinned behind a collapsed column. Stone and dust exploded around him as they returned fire. Come on, he muttered under his breath, eyes darting to the narrow gap in the wall where Zellery had slipped through. Keep going. Just get out. He rolled sideways, avoiding a plasma shot that scorched the ground where he had just stood. His rifle's energy pack blinked red low. One last burst. Then silence. The hunters advanced carefully, weapons raised, but Jace was gone. They rushed forward, but a sudden tremor rocked the tunnel. The old structure, weakened from the battle, began to collapse. Chunks of stone fell between them and the side tunnel. The lead hunter cursed in their harsh tongue. He escaped with her. Find another way. Above ground, Yellari stumbled into the cold air of the wildlands. Her lungs filled with sharp, fresh wind for the first time in days. The sky was dark with ash, but still, it was open. Free. She turned, staring at the tunnel entrance, waiting. Jace. She whispered. Her heart pounded. Then, he emerged. Covered in dust, limping slightly, but alive, she rushed to him. You? Made it. He gave her a tired smile. Told you. 60 seconds. Yellari gently touched his arm, helping him stand. You risked your life again. You would have done the same, he replied. They stood together, surrounded by tall gray grass and jagged rock formations. Far in the distance, the ruins of Zerentha still smoked. Drones buzzed overhead, but none noticed them yet. We have to keep moving, Jace said. Those hunters won't stop. There's an outpost, Yellari said. It's old, but if we can reach it, we can contact someone. Someone you trust? She hesitated. No, but someone who hates the Sithar more than they fear me. They moved quickly across the wildlands. The ground was cracked, dry from years of war. Strange plants twisted in the wind. The world was broken but not dead. Hours passed. Jace was slowing. His wound from the palace skirmish had reopened, and blood stained his shirt. Yellari saw it and stopped. Rest. Now. We don't have time. You don't have blood to waste either. She made him sit beneath a tall stone. Then she pulled a small vial from her sash. It shimmered faintly. What's that? Jace asked. Healing serum. Ancient Solari remedy. Very rare. It might burn. He grinned. Burns I can handle. She poured it over his wound. He gritted his teeth, but already the bleeding slowed, the pain dulling. You really are full of surprises, he said. Yellari sat beside him. And you, human, you confuse me. How so? You kill when you must, but you protect even strangers. You're strong but soft, not like our warriors, Jace shrugged. We're not all the same. I've known good humans. Bad ones too. She looked at him, eyes soft. You are the best I've met. A strange silence followed, comfortable, yet full of something neither spoke aloud. Then Jace's eyes narrowed. Drones. Three of them, flying low over the ridge, scanning. We've got to move. But the drones stopped above them. Then lights blinked red. They were spotted. Jace grabbed his rifle. Yellari whispered, Run. There's a cave ahead. It leads to the outpost. They sprinted across the field as the drones fired energy blasts behind them. Explosions tore up the ground. Jace shielded Yellari as they ran, ducking and weaving. One blast struck close, sending them flying. Dazed, Jace got up first. His arm was burned, but he helped Yellari to her feet. She had a cut across her forehead, but nodded, still able to move. There! She shouted, pointing to a crack in the rock wall. Inside! They dove in just as a drone fired again, missing them by inches. Inside the cave, it was dark and narrow, but safe. For now. Breathing hard, they collapsed against the wall. Jace laughed softly. So this is what a relaxing walk in the wildlands feels like. Yellari smiled through the pain. With you, human, there's never peace but always purpose. Jace looked at her seriously. I'm not leaving you, he said. Not now. Not ever, her voice trembled. I believe you. The cave grew wider as they moved deeper. Moss glowed faintly on the walls, giving them just enough light to see the uneven ground. Yellari walked ahead, steady but cautious. Jace followed, still limping, but stronger now. After nearly an hour of climbing and crawling, they saw it light ahead. The tunnel opened into a small valley surrounded by jagged cliffs. In the center stood a structure half buried in stone. An old Solari outpost. Its towers were broken, antennae bent, but it still breathed with low hums of power. Jace raised his rifle. Friendly? Yalari didn't answer at first. Her eyes were fixed on the rusted banners still hanging outside the gate. That symbol, she whispered. It belongs to House Thornick? Enemy? Worse, she said. They were once allies. But when my husband died, they betrayed our family, took power, turned silent. They might kill me or use me. Jace stepped closer. Then we sneak in, quiet and careful. But the gate suddenly creaked open. 2 alien figures stepped out, guards in patched armor. Their rifles pointed down but not lowered. Yalari, one of them said with surprise. We thought you were dead. I should be, she said, standing tall. But the universe had other plans. The guards looked at Jace. And the human? He saved me, and he carries my trust. They exchanged a glance, then stepped aside. You should speak to Lady Sirith, the taller one said. She leads now. Inside, the outpost was quiet but tense. Wounded soldiers lay on cots. Children peeked from behind doors. Supplies were low, but the energy core still glowed strong. The war hadn't taken everything yet. They entered the main chamber. There stood Lady Sirith, tall, silver-skinned like Yalari, but older. Her eyes were sharp, voice colder than ice. Widow of Varn, she said. You walk the halls of betrayal with confidence. I walk with truth, Yalari replied, and with hope. Sirith's gaze moved to Jace. And this human? He's the reason I still breathe. Sirith studied him for a long moment. We do not trust outsiders. Jace met her gaze. I didn't come here to be trusted. I came to protect her. A pause. Then Sirith gestured to a table. Sit, speak. They sat. The LAR. I explained everything: Zerantha's fall, the hidden map, the ancient mural, and the Sith are hunting them. Sirith was silent until the end. That vault you found, she said at last, is real and dangerous. The map leads to weapons and knowledge buried since before the Great Silence. If the Sith'er get it first, they'll win, Jace finished. Sirith stood. You brought trouble, but you also brought warning. I will send scouts to verify your story. Until then, you both remain here, safe and watched. Yalari bowed her head. That is fair. Later, they were given a small room, bare but warm. Jace leaned against the wall, arms crossed. She didn't believe us, he said. She will, Yalari replied. Sirith is many things, but not a fool. Night came. Outside, wind howled across the cliffs. Inside, it was quiet, too quiet. Jace sat on the floor, watching Yalari clean a small cut on her hand. He finally said, When this is over? What will you do? She didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, I don't know. I have no home, no family left. I suppose I will wander. You won't be alone, Jace said. Wherever you go, I'll be there. She looked up at him. You've already given me more than most ever have. You held me when I was broken. Fought for me when I had nothing left? Why? He walked over and gently sat beside her. Because that's what a true male does. She smiled, a real one, full of warmth, I think. My heart is starting to heal. They sat in silence, leaning gently against each other. The war outside fading for just a moment, but peace never lasted. Far away, deep in space, a Sith'er dreadnought intercepted a signal, a scout's report. Location found. Target, human and Zalari. Widow, orders, capture alive. Map must not be lost. Asterisk. The next morning the outpost stirred with quiet tension. Word had spread Lady Yellari had returned from the dead, and a human warrior stood at her side. Jace stood near the outer wall, watching the sky. He didn't trust quiet mornings. Not after what they'd been through. Yellari approached him. Cirith's. Scouts confirmed it, she said. The vault is real. The map we found points to it clearly. Jace nodded. And the Sithar know we're here. It's only a matter of time before they come. Yellari lowered her voice. Cirith wants to move. The outpost. Disperse the people. She doesn't think we can fight a dreadnought, can we? Yellari didn't answer. But Jace saw the fear in her eyes. Later that day, Cirith called a private meeting in the command chamber. Only 5 people were present. Cirith, Yellari, Jace, and 2 of Cirith's advisors. The lights were dim. The old table hummed with ancient energy as the map glowed softly in front of them. We must destroy it, Cirith said flatly. The vault. If we cannot reach it first, we must keep it from everyone. Yellari frowned. That vault may be our only hope. It holds weapons, yes, but also healing machines, food synthesizers, technology to rebuild. It was meant to protect our future, Jace agreed. Burning it helps the Sithar. They want us to stay broken. Cirith's eyes narrowed. And what would a human know of our future? Jace leaned forward. Maybe nothing. But I've seen what happens when people give up hope. I won't let it happen again. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Cirith stood. I must think, she said. This decision cannot be made in haste. That night, Jace couldn't sleep. The air felt too still. He wandered the halls, rifle in hand. Something felt wrong. Then he saw it. One of Cirith's guards whispering into a communicator. Sithar symbols glowing faintly on the screen. Jace's heart sank. He backed away.
Returned to their room and woke Yellari. We've been betrayed.
He whispered. One of Cirith's guards is feeding information to the Sithar. Yellari's eyes widened. No, it can't be. She never planned to protect us, Jace said. She's buying her safety with ours. Suddenly, alarms blared. The walls shook as the sound of a distant explosion echoed across the cliffs. They're here. Someone shouted in the distance. Jace grabbed Yellari's hand. We have to move. Now. They ran toward the outpost's hidden back gate, but Cirith was waiting. Armed. Stop, she commanded. You will give me the map. Now. Yellari stared at her in disbelief. You called them here. I did what I had to do, Cirith replied coldly. The Sithar promised safety for my people. For me. You brought war to our doorstep. You? Brought it the moment you gave up, Jace said. Cirith raised her weapon. But Yellari stepped in front of Jace. You want the map? She said, then you'll have to shoot me. Cirith hesitated, but only for a second. Her finger moved. A loud crack echoed across the stone as a plasma bolt flew, but not from Cirith's weapon. It came from the shadows. Cirith dropped. A hole in her chest, eyes wide in shock. Behind her stood one of the guards, the same one Jace saw earlier. I didn't betray you, the guard said softly. Cirith did. I only pretended to spy to protect the children. The others are evacuating now. Yellari stepped forward, stunned. Why? Why help us? The guard looked at Jace. Because he fights like a true warrior, and because you still believe. That's more than we had in years. Jace nodded. Thank you. We can't stop the Sithar, the guard continued. But you can outrun them. The map must survive. Jace and Yellari rushed to the rear gate. Outside, the valley burned. A Sithar dropship hovered above the cliffs, but the passage to the wildlands was still open. Jace looked back once, then ran hand in hand with Yellari. They vanished into the smoke toward the vault, toward the final battle. The stars were still fading from the sky as Jace and Yalari reached the entrance of the vault. It lay hidden inside a mountain ridge, carved into the stone and sealed by ancient code. The wind howled behind them, carrying the distant sounds of Sither ships closing in. Jace scanned the wall. "How do we open it?" Yalari stepped forward. "Only royal blood can unlock this gate." She placed her pendant against the center panel. The mountain rumbled. Ancient runes glowed blue. Slowly, the massive door slid open with a deep grinding sound, revealing a dark tunnel beyond. Jace kept his rifle ready. "We don't have much time." They stepped inside. The vault was a forgotten world, metal corridors, flickering lights, humming machines that had waited for centuries, shelves lined with sealed crates, stasis pods, devices Jace couldn't name but felt powerful. "It's all real," Yalari whispered. "Everything my people lost is here." Jace checked the entrance behind them. "They'll find this place soon." "What do we need to take?" Yalari walked to the central console. "The vault has a system. It can choose and pack the most critical resources for survival. But we must protect it long enough to activate and seal it." She placed her hand on the control panel. Light surged through the floor. The vault hummed to life, but outside thunder. Sither dropships descended, their shadows growing longer across the rocks. "They're here," Jace said. Yalari didn't move. "I need 5 minutes, that's all." Jace turned to face the entrance. He loaded his last energy pack. "Then they won't get through." The Sither came hard. Explosives lit up the entrance. The stone cracked. Metal groaned. Jace stood between the vault and the blast, calm, steady, ready. First soldier appeared. Jace fired. One shot, one kill, then another. And another, but there were too many. He took a hit to the shoulder, another near his side. But he didn't fall. He never fell. Inside, Yalari cried out, "Almost done, don't stop." "I'm not going anywhere." Jace shouted, bleeding now, sweat and dirt covering his face. A large Sither commander stepped forward. "Surrender, human, you're alone." Jace grinned through the pain. "You're wrong." Behind him, the vault sealed with a loud clang, the system now running on auto mode. Yalari stepped beside him. Holding a strange alien weapon from the shelves, she fired. The commander fell. Together, side by side. They fought two against many, until the enemy broke and scattered. Silence returned. Jace dropped to one knee. "That was a lot." Yalari caught him, holding his arm tightly. "You kept your promise." He looked up at her. "I said I'd protect you. I meant it." Tears welled in her eyes. "You're more than a protector. You're something my people never had." She helped him inside as the vault closed behind them, locking away the last hope of the Zalari safe, hidden, ready. In the quiet that followed, they sat on the vault floor. Jace rested against the wall, his breathing slow but steady. Yalari tended to his wounds, hands gentle, voice soft. "You could have left," she whispered. "You could have run." "I told you before," Jace said with a faint smile. "I don't leave people behind." She leaned closer, resting her forehead against his. "In my culture," she whispered, "a male who defends a widow with nothing left is considered her bonded one." Jace's heart skipped. "And what if the human accepts that bond?" "Then," she said, voice shaking slightly, "he is never alone again." They sat together, the war fading behind them, the vault pulsing. With quiet life, Jace reached out and took her hand. "You were never just a mission to me," he said. "You're the reason I kept fighting." Yalari closed her eyes. "In a galaxy of cold stars, you became my warmth." Outside, the dawn began to rise. And for the first time in a long, long while, there was hope.